Welcome to Fashion Reverie Talks. I'm Tijana Ibrahimovic.
And I am Cicily Daniels.
Fashion Reverie Talks takes you from the front lines of fashion to the front row.
All of Fashion Reverie Talks segments are based on published content found on fashionreverie.com.
So remember, if you want more info on the segments, go to fashionreverie.com.
In this episode, we chat with noted interior designer Wilfredo Emanuel about sprucing up your home and work from home space for spring 2022. We also chat with associate editor Tessa Swantek about her article, Spring's Fair Share of Attention.
So we start every episode with fashion news, and our news segments are based on fashion news alerts found on fashionreverie.com. So let's jump into the current events in fashion, and let's talk about one of my favorite pop artists, Maluma, who actually recently announced a new fashion line for Macy's. So it is created in collaboration with Macy's, and it's called Royalty by Maluma, designed in partnership with Reunited Clothing, and has pretty affordable prices ranging from $39 to $179. So it is, as he says, a unique blend of his Latin culture and his love for fashion. And it's a stylish wear, anywhere looks that are versatile for a night and day. So I don't know, I just love Maluma's energy. So I'm sort of expecting a lot of fun pieces. Not necessarily like, I feel like I would wear maybe some of his men's clothing as well. So in store.
I feel like it's interesting that you're excited, especially you, Tijana, because like I know how you are sometimes about celebrity collections, celebrities having another celebrity having their own line. So I think it's interesting. I know, that's what I was going to say. I think it's interesting that this celebrity has your attention, and I think that's in part because Maluma has a lot of people's attention, not only for their talent, but good-looking humans people might appreciate. So, I think there's definitely a fun and sexy vibe that people, get from him. So it'll be interesting to see if they translate into the clothes. Like, one good thing I think is always a more affordable price point. So, I think that people will respond to that, and then we'll have to wait and see like what the fashion and the like kind of quality turn out to be like.
That is so important, like to actually see what the fabrics are made of.
Exactly. So, we will see. Now, my bit of fashion news is a little bit of scandal. It's actually,
scandals.
Of course, we do love scandal, but it's actually not something that just happened. Many of us remember about a year ago that there was a Vogue cover featuring Vice President Kamala Harris, and everyone, myself as a Black woman, I feel like so many women, people of color, and just people who were excited, were thrilled to see Kamala Harris on the cover of Vogue. As our first female and woman of color vice president, her nomination and her serving was historic. And so it was wonderful that it was being celebrated on the cover of Vogue. However, a new book has revealed that she and her team were not so happy about the images that were on the cover, and that she was featured in a black pantsuit with Converse sneakers. And that was not the outfit that they thought they were going to see. They expected to see her in something that was a little fancier, like a powder blue suit by Michael Kors. And so there was some controversy about it. And also she was self-styled for that look. And I thought that was very strange. So so we just come to find out, it was like kind of people thought it looked kind of casual. And even though it was featuring pink and green, which are the colors of I'm sorority sisters with the Vice President.
Okay.
Our sorority, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. It still, wasn't like maybe the look that people expected, particularly from Vogue and particularly for the Vice President of the United States. So it's interesting to find out that indeed there was scandal around it, and that, you know, her team was not truly satisfied with it.
Yeah, definitely. So reactions were pretty strong, like negative, when the cover came out. Actually, it leaked sooner than it was published. But it's so informal, and I don't think that that's fitting for a VP or a Vogue. It's just messy. It should be clear, tight, like we're dealing with the White House and Vogue.
And
this self-styling just sounds really wrong, suspicious to me. I don't know, like, how do you self-style for Vogue?
So, I have no idea. That's where, like, I do, like, run into questions. Like, again, like, featuring that pink and green, salmon pink and apple green are the colors of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And I think that's a beautiful nod to her having attended a historically Black college, as well as being part of a historically Black sorority. And I appreciate that, but, you know, like, self-style, like, if I'm going to be on Vogue, I'm expecting to have like 5 people doing my makeup and styling me. Like, you know, like, I need a harem of people, like, making sure that I look whatever I look head to toe. So, like, it's a real question with Vogue, with it have been, you know, with it being Vogue of all magazines, and with it being the Vice President of the United States, and no less the first, you know, woman of color and woman Vice President of the United States, that they, like, didn't get that perfectly right.
I'm excited to see what Wilfredo is going to say, but those 2 colors are kind of a perfect background, a perfect, like, base to have great, like, cover.
Yeah.
Like, I see a lot of interior design magazines use those 2 colors, you know, as a background or whatever.
So yeah, we don't know what went wrong, but apparently her team was not quite satisfied, as many of us were not. So, you know, you learn more and more.
Yeah, they needed to watch more of Style with Elsa Klensch from show on CNN. Actually, this is like a little bit of a sad news. It's a huge loss for fashion industry. Elsa Klensch, who she had a show on CNN for 20 years called Style with Elsa Klensch. And so she passed away earlier in the month and a few weeks ago. So she was a pioneer for journalists of fashion, and one of the first to present fashion news and coverage on cable television. So, you know, what we see daily now, you know, when you see a fashion show, you almost see it in real time. People comment in real time, but her show was a true platform where people could, at that time, for the first time, see the collection, discover the collection, see her interviews with the designers. She interviewed Carolina Herrera, Karl Lagerfeld, even Byron Lars that we had on our show, and is a friend of Fashion Reverie Talks. So it's just sad after 20 years of Style with Elsa Klensch, that we can now watch and see video, at least.
Well, at least we can, and we celebrate her work and her life.
Yes.
Well, that's it for our fashion news for this week. But, you know, if you want to stay on top of the news, always go check us out at fashionreverie.com.
So welcome to our episode of Fashion Reverie Talks. Wilfredo Emanuel, HGTV's Table Wars host, is here with us today. Welcome to Fashion Reverie Talks.
Hello, everyone. How we doing?
Very good. Excited to have you and to chat with you about some of your tips for the spring, etc. But why don't we just continue on about a topic that we just recently mentioned in the Fashion News Alert? What did you think about a cover of Kamala Harris, Vogue cover that we just discussed with Cicily?
Well, I kind of agree with you guys. I think that you have to understand the position and the importance of certain covers that you have to have the sense of what you want to transmit to the public. And definitely, it should be definitely styled. I agree with you, Cecily. I think that it should be 20 people around her, in every second. And the simplicity is what, I don't know what idea was, because they always have, these kind of ideas behind the covers. But it's very surprising for me, because I mean, Vogue, the big of the magazine that you say always a vanguard that is here and there, showing that simplicity of the cover, is definitely shocked me. And I think it should be better elaborate, better art, make it in a different way.
Yeah, because I've seen a lot of interiors designed with those two colors. Yes. That are really like perfect, and also with like a matching wardrobe, etc. So yeah.
It was a great opportunity, with those beautiful, the pink, and it was a beautiful opportunity to make something big, like I say, and solve it at the same time. I mean, we're talking about the vice president of the nation, so come on, let's give that standard to that cover. So I agree.
So how did you first get involved with interior design?
Oh my God, it was so long ago. But it's a long, short story. So I studied architecture. I'm coming from a town in Puerto Rico. It's center. We used to have a coffee farm in my family. So we are in the mountains, a very country boy here. Mm-hmm. And so I didn't know what interior design was at that time, So I do architecture. So because my grandfather came to Puerto Rico, commissioned for the governor to do some bridge. So he do a lot of architecture and engineers. So that's what I want to do. That's what I want to be. So being the school of architecture in Puerto Rico, it was a convention of interior design. It was like, what is interior design? It's only like 8 minutes, but... So I went to check, and I was fascinated to understand the interior design world. So I say, oh my God, I can not only create the background, I can go all the layers and make for my client a final product. And that from there, I immediately moved and I graduated, and I didn't do anything in my life that is not interior design. 34 years ago.
How long ago?
Like 34 years ago.
Oh, okay. And so once you moved to Orlando, right? You worked for somebody else, and then you started your own company, your own firm. Tell me about it. Tell me about the challenges, or just advantages of becoming independent interior designer and sort of making the name for yourself.
Well, it's like everything. I come to America for the first time, actually, and then I went straight to Orlando because I have family there, and it was easier for me. And I started working as interior design, and then suddenly the company closed, so I went to work for another company, and the company called me, reopened here in Naples. And they called me like, we need you here. And I put my GPS, let's go to Naples. I never know what Naples is, it was at that time. And here we are. It's been 10 years after. I have my own company. It's been 4 years. And I'm very, very blessed that the people looks and love my style. I am a little bit out of what the box of what Naples major, people is, but I think the people like it, and that's what the people come through me to do different things on the house and stuff like that.
Do you throw a little bit of Puerto Rico inspiration in your design?
Absolutely. I think that I'm not definitely a vanilla guy. I'm not beige and grays and I'm not. Yes, I use as a basics, but I love colors. I love movement. As I bring my architecture, so I love to do backgrounds with a big impact. I love to do, focal points that the people, because if you're gonna do it, I do a lot of custom home for clients. I do a custom home and they pay all that money, and you have the same floor or the same wall that 3 houses down the road. So what is special on that? You can do that. So when they hire me to have is that dream that they see that one day they want to have, and cut all the magazines, wrap all those pages. So that's what I'm basically make those dreams come true to my clients.
So you maybe push them a little bit to think outside of the box.
Absolutely. Well, they're ready. When they come to me, they're ready to go out of the box. They know that I'm not a normal guy, but I love because it's a beautiful collaboration in between the client and I. And so far, it's been amazing. In these 34 years of interior design in my life, I can tell you, how much I still love what I do.
And so you co-host Table Wars. Could you tell me a little bit about this show?
Well, the show is a competition, and it's the first show in a tablescaping competition. And the funny part is like they call me, we all say like, oh, and I have a little bit of a TV here and there when I was in Dominican Republic and here and there. But they call me like, hey, I want to cast you for a TV show, and HGTV. You say like, yeah, just sure. Send me an email. So I have it for my writing. And suddenly I do all the, auctions, and everything was by Zoom. And it was actually in the pandemic time. So it was very, very close. And I guess they did probably 1,700 people, and then come down to 400, and then come down to 8, and then I am here. So it was a very good experience with Martha Stewart, of course, that she's the queen. So.
It must be a dream getting invited to a dinner at your home.
Absolutely. It was a very fun show.
And so the Pantone color for spring 2022 is a very berry. Could you share some of the tips how consumers can incorporate this color into their home decor?
Absolutely. Berry is kind of a mix, and it's very calming color. It's in between lavender and between blue. You have a little bit of those. So it's kind of like in between. So it's a very calming. Also, it's a very big trend now on the interior design, which is pastels. It's very calm, very pastel color. So it's very easy. We should keep our basics in neutrals, not the sofa, the big pieces. And because it's design all the time, it's a big invest. So what we should do is accent, pillows, flowers, books with covers in that color, throws, what else? Just an area rug that we can switch and have that beautiful pretty color under this our regular sofa. You can do many things with art, wallpaper, paint. If you don't need wallpaper, just paint. Paint is a big change all the time. So I think we can make our beautiful color and our home very, trend with just moving the little things here and there. So we don't have to expend that amount of money that the people do.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I do have to correct myself. I did say that you were a host of the Table Wars, but you were actually a semi-finalist. So
yeah, I was a competitor. Jesus Christ, that was crazy. It was a very good experience for me because, you get to the point in your life that you have, your business, you have your personal life, everything is set up, and suddenly nobody knocked the door and to do this. Oh, I'm going to compete with these guys. These guys doing this for life. And I do interior design. I don't do tablescaping. Yes, I do, but just for charities, for events here local. And I guess the people saw it on Instagram and pitched it, and here we are.
Yeah.
participate in this big show with the big people. So I'm very, very,
Well,
very
let's speak it into the existence. Maybe I just, threw in some idea to be the host of your show someday.
well, why not? I would love to.
Thank you
Absolutely.
so much. Thank you so much for this lovely interview, and see you in Florida.
Oh, come in. It's a beautiful weather here right now. So we're more than welcome. Just give me a call. Okay?
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, ladies.
Well, as we were just talking about bold choices and fantastic interior design, we are going to go to some trends that are happening in fashion that are very bold, which would be influenced by an icon. I speak of none other than Cher, and I am thrilled to have Fashion Reverie Associate Editor Tessa Swantek to join us with the article that she wrote, which is about spring fashion that would be influenced by Cher and or inspired by Cher's fashion. And these are some trends that I think are exciting, fun, and fabulous for everyone to take advantage of. So Tessa, thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you for having me. Yeah, today we're talking about Cher-inspired fashion. At first, when I started this article, I kind of was just looking at outlandish fashion, but I kind of found that everything was very 70s looking. Everything was kind of psychedelic, like a lot of cutouts, a lot of rhinestones, and I was like, I'm just gonna go fully Cher on this to have a theme, and I think that's what everyone's wearing this spring. So I just went with it. I went outlandish, and I think Cher is the queen of that.
I mean, she always, though, she brings like elegance. She's never afraid. Like, I feel like she brings you that kind of fearless fashion where like she like had a fantastic figure. She wasn't afraid to show it, any color, any cutout, any shape, like she would just bring it. And so I do think that, again, as I still feel like we're emerging from the pandemic. And so people are ready to like make statements and feel bold. So tell us about the first designer or trend that you think would, influence us.
So the first thing, you kind of already said it, but the first thing I was kind of thinking of like a statuesque feeling. Like Cher was known for her physique. She was known for just looking kind of long is the only way I could describe it. Long lines, like if you wore bell sleeves or bell like flared pants, she would just look like a statue. And that's what she was known for a lot of times. So the first thing I chose was this very long, like dress by Ottolinger, and it's a mesh dress with a very like saturated print on it by a New York City based artist. And it's just gorgeous. It has green ties on it. It's one of my favorites of the whole article. And it just kind of encapsulates Cher. It's long. I think it's exactly what she would wear. It's what 1970s Cher would wear if she was transported to now.
I think absolutely, because it does give you that like kind of that 70s vibe, but it still has that freshness, like that it has that like New York artist like printed on it, like, things like that. Like she was always kind of tuned in culturally to like the zeitgeist and what's going on. And I think that's really cool. It's a really gorgeous dress.
I love it.
Yeah, I think that's stunning. And that purple's my favorite color. So anything with purple, you can have me in there.
It's my favorite color. Everything now for spring, like you said, people are going very like dopamine dressing. Like we've been in such depressing times that people just want something like highly saturated and fun with a lot of like rhinestones and jewel kind of looks. So I think that's where we're going for spring.
Absolutely. What's the next look or designer that you feel like would be a great choice?
So the next thing, I kind of felt like if I could think of two ways to describe Cher's fashion, it would be one, cutouts, and two, rhinestones. Because I think everything kind of designed by Bob Mackie in particular had those two elements to it. So I chose something that was based on her 1974 Grammys look, which was this like butterfly look. It had like a blue and pink rhinestone butterfly. But this is only $50 from ASOS. So you could get the Grammy look without spending that much money. It's not too bad. And it has cutouts on the side to kind of look like a butterfly. It's so pretty. And it's also similar to what Dua Lipa wore recently to an award show.
Well, it's funny you say Dua Lipa because she's kind of one of those people, like if you're like, who is like carrying the torch a little bit for like Cher's fashion and Cher's next step, she'd definitely be one of those celebrities that I think does that with her fashion. And again, what I love about, number one, we love a nice price point. So for those of us that like have designer tendencies, but not always a designer budget, it's nice to know places that you can look that will still, you know, give you like that butterfly top is so shiny. You get the cutouts, you get the like butterfly feel, and it's definitely that you know, you'll feel very chic. You show up to like a club or party or whatever, looking like fabulous in it.
Exactly. I love it. And it's right that you said the Dua Lipa part, because I mean, even recently, I feel like every award show she's been to, something has been very Cher inspired, kind of like the stomach exposed, like very long looking, like cutouts, a halter top, long, like black hair. Everything's been very Cher of what she wore. So it's really interesting to see how that stuff kind of comes back.
It comes back around, or she's channeling her. But I mean, she's Dua Lipa. She always looks good. Cher always looked, you know, it's fantastic. She's an icon for a reason. So, you know. Okay, what else? What else?
So last thing, I was thinking of kind of like 3D textures. Like Cher never really looked very like 2D. She always had like feathers or fringe, if it was like headdresses, or even one of her most iconic looks is this like long sheer gown with white feathers like at the ankles and at the wrists, and that's one of my favorite looks of hers. But for that, not really that look, but kind of the sheer look, because Cher was known to wear these like sort of naked dresses. Is how they would be described, and those are coming back. So I picked a $360 dress by Fancy Club that has this little like fur boa around the neck. It goes into an open back, and it's almost entirely sheer. And I think that's my favorite of the whole thing. That's definitely my favorite. It's just so interesting. It's not necessarily practical. You wouldn't necessarily wear that out, but I mean, that's Cher fashion.
I think it's definitely Cher, and it also gives you that little bit of drama, like that neckline gives you like that little bit of theatricality, but it's also a little bit of fun too. Like it's a little, you know what I mean? Like, so right. It brings all those things. So it's got the sheer, it brings the sexy, but with a little bit of fun, like it's still like playful. So I think that's a great look for people. Again, I think all of these are, you know, like you can make a statement with these dresses, and there are even additional styles and accessories explored in the article, which I advocate everyone go to. I now, Tessa, you know, my husband is always mad at me when I do my shows because I learn about new things. And I was like, oh my goodness, who is this bag designer? Call Gaia. I was like, I don't have a party to go to, but I'm like hoping somebody gets married so that I can buy that rhinestone bag that I don't need, but I feel like I need. You know what I'm saying? So there are additional looks and accessories that are explored in the article, which is fantastic. Tessa, thank you so much for your work and your article and for coming on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, viewers, that's it. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Fashion Reverie Talks.
We would like to thank our guests, Wilfredo Emanuel and Fashion Reverie's Associate Editor, Tessa Swantek.
For information on these and other stories, go to fashionreverie.com. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all the next time.